Hey, everybody. Happy day one of our 4-day workshop. As you jump on, as always, please pop into the chat, say hi, and where you are tuning in from. Always love seeing all the diverse places that everybody is tuning in from. So we have Bolton, Naples, Florida, Beverly Hills, Raleigh, Evanston, Cincinnati, Ohio. Awesome. Great to see everybody joining. And as a reminder, this is a 4-day workshop. So we are going to be meeting same time each and every day. And as you come on, I'm going to make sure that everyone's lines are muted. Just make sure your line is muted. So again, what we're going to be doing each and every day, this is a layered system. So the idea of this is to each day add a different layer to LinkedIn. And, this is a hot topic. A lot of us have connections on LinkedIn, but many of us are not converting those into clients and customers. And I want to kind of debunk all of that with you guys this week and teach you some simplistic things that you can do to really start building the type of network that you want, but also really gets you moving in the right direction. Now, if this is your first time taking one of my workshops, type a Y or a yes, or an N or a no if you are a returning person. So we have a lot of yeses. Awesome. So we have some returning people. We have some new people. Wonderful. And what I can tell you is that this is something that is going to move the needle forward for all of you. Just a couple things that I want to mention. The replays are going to be available. I mentioned to everyone before until this Sunday, which is July 2nd. So you'll be able to watch back all of these replays as much as you want, as often as you want, until this Sunday, July 2nd at 9 p.m. EDT. The replays will be emailed out each and every morning. But if you haven't done so yet, I'm going to drop in the comments. That is the private Facebook group. There's about 180 people in there so far. I think there's about 350 people that registered. So there's about 170 that still have not joined the private Facebook group. It's a pop-up group. It was only created basically to house the replays if people wanted to access them that way. But also that is where the homework thread is going to be for each and every day. So all you have to do is go to that link that I just dropped into the chat. And let me just do... all you have to do is drop, obviously go to that. I'm going to post it one more time. Click on that link. You can join the private Facebook group and you can catch everything there. Now, we're going to do a screen share as we always do. I have some slides that I'm going to present to all of you. And what I'm going to do is not only go through the slides, but what I'm also going to do is I'm going to do a screen share on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go on to LinkedIn, kind of take you through the process of what needs to be done. Now, before we dive into day one, if you had to rate yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're acquiring clients all the time on LinkedIn, and 0, you aren't getting anything from LinkedIn right now. Where would you guys say you are? So 0, 4, 0, 2, 0. Okay. Now, if anyone needs the workbook, all you have to do is email me personally, scott@scottaaron.net. It's attached to pretty much every email that I've sent out. It's a PDF attachment at the bottom of the email. And it will also be sent out every single morning along with the replays. But if you have not yet received it, I'm going to type in my email address in the chat. It's scott@scottaaron.net. You can just send me a personal email and say, hey, I don't have the workbook, and my team obviously can send that out to you in a little while. Now, The other thing is, so I'm just seeing some zeros, fours, ones. My goal, as my goal is every single time I do one of these workshops, is to get everyone as close to a 10 as possible, giving you the strategies and the systems that you need to have in place to really maximize your efforts on LinkedIn. Now, I will be very open and honest. There's a lot of people that are putting out a lot of misinformation about LinkedIn, that you can generate 30, 40 leads a week. You can book 10 sales calls a day. Now, if I was to rewind the tape, maybe a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, I would say yes, that is probably the case. You probably could do that. But because of the growth of the platform, but also the way that people are misusing the platform with all of the spam bots and the spammy messages and people selling and all of that, it's really putting people into a position where you're having to find different ways of generating leads, but converting those people into clients. And I have a strategy for that. It's how Nancy and I, many of you know my wife, it's how we've grown and scaled our business. And that is my goal, to teach every single one of you today. The big thing is this: making sure that you are very present and available this week, hopefully live each and every day, because remember, on Thursday, we're going to be doing full live Q&A. So anyone that's on here live on Thursday at 1, you're going to be able to ask me any and all questions that you have in regards to what you're doing. Now, type into the chat. I know that you rated yourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. What would you say is the biggest issue that you're having in regards to LinkedIn? Is it growing your network? Is it getting people to respond to your messages? Is it structuring your calls? Is it creating content? Is it nurturing your network? What would you say? Dorothy said consistency, not maximizing the potential, growing my network, getting people on the phone, responding to my message, getting people to schedule, nurturing, new to the platform, getting responses. Awesome. So the goal is to really allow all of you to understand that LinkedIn does not have to be difficult. It doesn't. There are simplified processes for everything that we do, not just in our lives, but in and for our businesses. And my ultimate goal is to really shorten that learning curve for all of you, so you are building the businesses that you want. That's what it's all about. So also in the chat, what are you most excited to learn? So again, we know what some of those thorns in our sides are, but what are you most interested and most excited to learn in today's and this week's training? Having a process, finding my target audience, having a process. Awesome. Getting conversions into clients. Yeah. How to find my ideal clients. Awesome. So creating a better process. And that's what you're going to have. You're going to have a layered process. So I really invite all of you to do two things. Number one, close out all the other tabs that you have open on your computer. I invite you to do that, number one, because again, I want you to be present with this presentation. And I also want you to be present with when I do share my screen, so you guys can see the process live and direct on LinkedIn. I also invite you to, put away all other electronic activity. But before you do that, there's two little contests that I run during my workshops. Number one, there's a homework contest that I always run. So anyone that participates in the homework, so there's going to be an accountability assignment each and every day to move you forward through this system. And you're going to see in the private Facebook group, there's going to be a homework thread. It's going to say Nancy's day 1 homework thread, and it's going to instruct you of what you need to do with the accountability assignment. And anyone that obviously posts your homework assignment before the start of the next day, you'll qualify to win one of 2 homework prizes that are going to be giving out each and every day. The other is a social media contest. So all you have to do at any point during any of the day's trainings, you just have to take a screenshot of the screen with your phone, your computer. It could be this screen. It could be when I'm presenting. And all you have to do is post it on social media of your choice. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be Instagram. And all you have to do is tag me. You can tag me on Instagram, which is at Scott Aaron LinkedIn. I'll show you the handle in a second. I'm Scott Aaron on Facebook and LinkedIn. So all you have to do, and that's all you have to do. And you can win so I'm giving away 4 prizes each and every day. So if everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is clear so far. And you're going to hear me, if this is your first time to these trainings, you're going to hear me always directing you to the chat. Now, there have been studies done. The more that you participate, the more you're going to retain. The less distracted you are, the more you're going to be able to apply what I teach and the less information you are going to miss. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. And again, I want to go over a couple pieces of housekeeping with all of you. And again, I just want to hear from you guys. I'm going to share this in a second. So please let me know. And I'm just going to hide the video panel. Just type a Y or a yes if you guys can see my screen very, very clearly and you can hear me clearly as well. Awesome. Okay. So just a couple bit of housekeeping notes. I dropped this in the chat earlier. Please make sure that you join the private Facebook group. Again, this is going to allow us, and I'm going to drop it in the chat again. Just make sure you join that group. That's where the homework thread is going to be available. It's going to be where the replays are going to be available outside of the emails that you get. And it's also where we're going to create a little bit of a sub community with what we're doing. It's a pop-up group. It's only for this workshop. You don't have to worry about getting any other notification after the workshop is done. So, I invite you to join there so we can stay connected that way. Also, just as a reminder, you're going to be getting 4 emails from me every single day moving forward. So the one thing that I do want you all to remember is please don't unsubscribe from the emails that you're getting from scott@scottaaron.net or report them as spam, which if you do that, you're going to miss all the information. So every single morning at 8 a.m., starting tomorrow morning, you're going to get an email that's going to recap the prior day, what to expect for the day coming up, and the replay link where you guys can go back and watch the replay. You're also going to get an email an hour before we start, 15 minutes before we start, and that we're absolutely live. So if everybody is clear on that so far, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So you're getting 4 emails every single day, starting tomorrow, replay an hour before, 15 minutes before, and we are live. So don't unsubscribe and don't report it as spam. In the morning replay email, you will also have the workbook in case you don't have it, but you can always drop an email. If any of you ever need anything throughout this week's workshop, again, that is my personal email. Just send me an email saying, hey, I need the workbook. Hey, I don't have the Zoom link. Hey, if you just jumped on, if you could hit, if you guys could mute your lines, just make sure. I just want to make sure we have clear lines. I'm just going to mute everybody again. If you see that you're unmuted, please do mute yourselves. Now, again, the replays will be available to watch back until this Sunday, which is July 2nd at 9 p.m. EDT. And please do post your daily accountability homework in the Facebook group thread, or you can email me directly, scott@scottaaron.net, 30 minutes prior to the next trainings call. So again, what you need to do is 30 minutes before our next session, just make sure your homework is submitted 30 minutes prior, which is 12:30 p.m. EDT before the next day. So the accountability assignment from today is due 30 minutes before tomorrow, which is 12:30. If everybody is clear on that, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, just want to make sure everybody is clear. And also, to participate in the social media homework prizes, tag me on social, as like I mentioned, at Scott Aaron LinkedIn on Instagram, Scott Aaron on LinkedIn, and Scott Aaron on Facebook. So if everybody is ready to dive in, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat, because now the fun begins. Now, so here is our outline. Obviously, today we are going to be going over the simple steps to building your ideal client and power partner network. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over messaging and the sales call structure of the people that obviously you are connecting with. Day 3, positioning yourself as the thought leader through your content and how to nurture your network. And day 4 is 60 minutes of live Q&A with me. Now, building your ideal network. So there's a couple tips that I have before we actually go through this process. Is you always want to send connection requests to find your audience, not just to accumulate connections who don't share common interests with you. Now, this is important because you will see people with very large amounts of connections on LinkedIn, and then you will see their content. No one's engaging. Now, they're probably doing the spray and pray methodology, and you probably have heard me talk about this before, where people just hit connect, and they're just hoping that they build some sort of network by just literally closing their eyes and hitting that connect button. You don't want to do that. You want to be specific on the days that you search to find highly targeted connections and power partners. It's better to have a smaller and much more highly focused network to connect with than a large network with fewer things in common. So if everybody is clear on that notion so far, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. I just want to make sure everybody is clear. Okay. Remember, bigger is not always better in the case of growing your business and doing things on LinkedIn. You do want to be very clear and concise. Now, the third and final thing is when you are searching on LinkedIn. Now, type in the chat just so I can see first and foremost before we start diving in. Type in the word free if you're using the free version of LinkedIn, or paid if you're using the paid version of LinkedIn, which can be Premium, Recruiter, Navigator. Okay. Now, people ask me this all the time. I've only used the free version of LinkedIn. I've never paid for Premium. My big theory is this: until you squeeze all of the juices out of the free version of LinkedIn, do not take any of the carrots that are dangled in front of you to pay for the Premium. Now, there are, in my honest and humbled opinion, the number one benefit of having a Premium account over a free account is with the Premium account, which I believe is between $59 to $69 a month, is you're allowed unlimited searches. So you can search as much as you want. I'm going to go into the difference between the two, but there are ways to work around the search limitations if you have the free. Now, people ask me all the time, well, when do I need Navigator? When do I need Recruiter? So typically the people that are using those extras on LinkedIn, they are searching high profile clientele, companies that are yielding multiple 7 and 8 figures. Maybe you're running LinkedIn ads, which, you do have a budget, a significant ad budget, $5,000-$6,000 a month at a bare minimum to get your foot in the door. If you're more looking at connecting with individual clients, individual buyers, individual customers, the free version is going to more than be suitable for what you're looking to do. I'm not going to tell you not to get Premium, Navigator, or Recruiter. It's completely up to the person. But again, my biggest thing is this: if you haven't squeezed all of the juice out of the free, before you do that, make sure you do squeeze the juice and see if you do need the paid. So if that makes sense, and if you guys are with me, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure everybody is clear. Awesome. Now, when you are searching and when you are connecting, there are some questions that you need to ask yourselves. So, number one, who would I have the most genuine conversation with, never knowing them before? Who would I have the most authentic connection with, never knowing them before? And who would find the most valuable in my content and having me as a connection without knowing them before? Questions always lead to answers. This is something that I always talk about. And the more dialed in all of you get and the more specific all of you get with your strategy for your LinkedIn game, the better results you're going to have. So this is what I instruct any of my one-on-one clients, any of my virtual clients, any of my mastermind members. You always want to ask yourselves these questions because you want to put yourselves in the shoes of the person on the other side of the computer screen, right? You want to put yourselves in the shoes of that ideal person. So if that's clear, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. These are really important questions that you need to ask yourselves. Now, some extra tips to get even more of an exact avatar connection. If it's now, type in the chat with what you guys do. Drop in the chat from a business standpoint. What do you do for a profession? Are you a coach? Are you a consultant? Are you in insurance? What is it that you do? Hotel sourcing and events. Awesome. Coach, meeting planner. Wonderful. I just want to, I want you guys to drop in there what you're doing, because again, this is really important to understand. Wonderful. Coach, financial coach. Wonderful. So with what you guys do, do you work more locally, nationally, or globally? So nationally, globally, or locally, what would you guys say? So I'm seeing locally, globally, both, globally, mostly, all the above. Awesome. So here's the cool thing about LinkedIn. As you get more dialed in, you can start to get even more narrow with the network that you're building. So you can filter by location. You can filter by company. You can filter by multiple job titles or professions, right? So it could be, business podcast, coach, something like that. So the more narrow that you get, the more of a specific result you're going to get as well. So let's go over the specific strategy of exploding your network on LinkedIn. So the first thing is commit to doing something every day except Saturday and Sunday. So the strategy that I'm going to encourage all of you to adopt is a Monday through Friday strategy. Reason being, Nancy and I teach people how to live more and work less. Now, we've streamlined our business in the last number of years where we're only working Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays now. And that's what we want for all of you. You don't need to take this strategy and implement it on Saturdays and Sundays. That is for you, your family, your friends, your loved ones. So what you're going to be taught all this week is a Monday through Friday strategy. So if everyone's clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Remember, live more, work less. Life is so short. It's so precious. And again, that's what Nancy and I want for all of you. So you want to commit to doing something to build your network Monday through Friday. So you're going to search. And again, if you have the free version, and for those that do have the paid version, again, I want you to adopt this principle. And again, you can expand on it. If you're using the free version, you want to do your searches on Mondays and Fridays. So I call this the bookend theory. So if you guys know what a bookend are, you have one bookend here, you have another bookend here, and then you have all the books in between. So your bookends are your specific searches on Mondays and Fridays. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you're going to be using the My Network area, which is your suggested connections. Those are the people that LinkedIn feels you would be best suited to connect with based on your profile, your education, your profession, prior searches, and current connections. You also want to send messages to new connections daily and respond to incoming messages every day. We're going to be going over of the messaging crafting and the call structure tomorrow, but we're going to be focused specifically today and today only is exploding your network. So if that's clear so far as the bookends, Monday and Friday searching, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you're using the My Network, a Y or a yes, you guys are already beating me to it. You are on the ball. I love it. Now, do specific searches to find people with your shared interest and business commonalities, but do not exceed 12 to 15 searches per month. If you're using the free version of LinkedIn, do not do more than 2 to 3 searches a week. Now, here's the thing. With every free account on LinkedIn, you are given about 12 to 15 searches per month. If you exceed that, 2 things are going to happen. Number one, LinkedIn is going to dangle that carrot where it's going to say, hey, Richard, looks like you're a power searcher and you've used all your searches. Upgrade to premium for a month for free. And you can search all you want. And no, that has not changed. It's always been 12 to 15 searches per month. So you're going to be searching 2 to 3 times a week. I recommend 2. People can go up to 3, but I would go no more than that. Now, the other thing is everyone needs to know. So drop a Y or a yes if you've ever seen that message that you're getting close to using all your commercial searches and do you want to upgrade to premium? So type a Y or a yes if you've seen that message. Okay, yeah, I think everyone, if you've gotten close to that. Now, something that you may not know is at the beginning of every month, on the first of every single month at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, every free account on LinkedIn is refreshed with new searches. So even say it's like the 25th or 26th of the month with today is obviously, and say that you use up all your searches. It's not a big deal. You can still use the My Network area, which I'm going to show you live today, to do your connecting. And then once the first hits, you're refreshed with new searches again. So if everybody is clear on that and that makes sense, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So the other thing that you want to do is you want to have a marker or you want to take note to keep track of your recent connections. This will help you not skip any new connections or accidentally send an opening message to the same person more than once. So you can either use a CRM, you can use a Google Sheet, you can use an Excel worksheet, whatever works for you, but really take note of where your network stands each and every day before you're building it. Now, here are some extra tips to remember. Make sure that you don't connect with just anyone. Be specific so you don't get your connections ignored. This is a new feature that LinkedIn has deployed in the last number of years that people are now have the ability to click the ignore button if they feel it's a very disingenuous connection request. You do not want to fall into that camp because if you have too many people hitting the ignore button with your connections, they will put you into a spam category and you run the risk of having your account blocked. You don't want to do that. Don't get connection happy. Too many connection requests sent can get you blocked. That's why you want to keep your connections to 100 or less per week. But what I suggest is 14 to 18 per day, Monday through Friday. So if everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, just as a reminder, what 2 days of the week are you searching for your connection requests? Dorothy is right on it. Monday and Friday. Correct. Now, what is the magic number of connection requests that you cannot go over in a given 7-day period on LinkedIn? What connection request? How many can you send in a week without getting in LinkedIn trouble? 100 or less. That is right. That is why I always suggest 14 to 18 per day, Monday through Friday, Monday and Friday using the searches, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday using the My Network. That way it'll keep you between 70 to 90 per week. Because again, remember, you're connecting Monday through Friday. You're not connecting Saturday and Sunday. To avoid getting blocked, make sure you clear out your sent connections in the My Network section under Manage Connections of any connection that is 3 weeks and older. And I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. So let me stop my share really quickly. And before we go on to LinkedIn, I want to kind of go over with you guys really quickly to help you identify the ideal people for you. So type into the chat. Now, I know what you guys do. So type into the chat from a client standpoint or a customer standpoint, who is an ideal connection for you in the mind of either a professional title or industry. So thinking about a profession or an industry that person is sitting in, who would be a best connection for you? So small business owners, vice president of sales, trial attorneys, awesome. Music teachers, executive meeting planners, HR, associations. So what you all need to do is start taking note of all of these things that you are typing, all these things that you're writing down, because as I mentioned very early in today's training, the more clear and specific you are with your actions and what you need to be doing on LinkedIn, the better results you're going to have. Now, what I want to kind of debunk really quickly, if it's okay if I do this, how many of you have seen maybe ads on social media, or maybe you've seen people talking about how you can generate hundreds of leads a week or a month on LinkedIn, and you're just kind of seeing that kind of message being put out there? Drop a Y or a yes if you've seen any of that. So I just want to be very open and honest with all of you that, again, a couple of years ago, that may have been true. But where LinkedIn stands now, that's impossible. So let me kind of, I'm a numbers guy, so I just want to kind of break down the numbers for all of you. So type into the chat really quickly. What's the max number of connections we can send in a week? What's the max number of connections we can send in a week? Okay. So let's do the math really quickly. If the max number of connections that you can send in a week is 100, and you're seeing people say, oh, we can generate hundreds of leads a week for you on LinkedIn, what does that mean? That means that every single one of your sent requests has to be accepted. So do you really think that's happening? Do we have a 100% acceptance rate on LinkedIn? No. Now, does anybody know what the current average rate percentage of acceptance connections is right now? Does anyone know? If you know, just type it in the chat. 10%, 5%, 1%, 10 to 20. So the rate right now is more along of what Kevin just dropped in. It's 25 to 30%. So for every 100 sent requests, you're most likely going to get about 25 to 30 new connections. That's average. Some people have higher acceptance rates. Some people have lower. So again, I just want to keep you all informed that if you're seeing those types of things being posted where people are like, oh yeah, you can get hundreds of connections or hundreds of leads a week on LinkedIn, you can't, because you can only send 100 connection requests, and that would mean every single one of them would accept. And I think we all know that they're not. Now, there are multiple layers to this. So let's just, again, we're going to continue with the math. So again, let's pretend we're sending our 100 connection requests per week, and we're getting 30 people to accept. So we have 30 new connections for every 100 sent. So if everybody is with me so far, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So for every 100, we're getting 30. Now, if we compound that over a month, so 30 accepted a week over a 4-week month, what is that total of new connections that we have? 120. Dorothy just typed it in, 120. Now, let's go deeper with this. Those companies that are telling you, oh, we can generate hundreds of leads per month, right? We can generate hundreds of sales calls per month. That means those 120 accepted connections, 100 of them have to respond to an outgoing message. Now, let's be open and honest. Out of 120 people that you're going to be messaging, do you think 100 of the 120 are going to respond to want to jump on a phone call? No. So the math is this. And I would say this is probably a good foundational place for all of you to start and ramp up from there. Ideally, in the very beginning of applying this process, from a very foundational standpoint, if all of you could book 3 sales calls per week, which is very doable, 3 sales calls per week. So you're going to be messaging people, but if you're having 3 a week, right, that's 12 per month. Now, none of us are going to have a 100% acceptance rate. None of us are going to have a 100% response rate. None of us are going to have a 100% close rate. But out of the 12 people, right, say 30% say, yes, I want to sign up for this. I want to buy this. I want to join that. Now you're getting about 3 sales every single month. So 70% are going to want nothing of what you have to offer, but that's okay. There's other ways to network with those people. If we were all to be able to generate 3 new sales a month from this strategy, how much would that change your business? So Craig said I'd make a fortune. Absolutely. So drop a Y or a yes if having 3 new sales a month, just 3, if that would make a huge difference in your life, in your business, and in the income that you wish to make. That's a lot of us overcomplicate the process, but just remember, marketing tactics are tactics for a reason. You have to be able to look at what you see online very objectively and subjectively, right? What's the saying? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? So when you're hearing people say, oh yeah, our company, we can set it and forget it. We can just we can book you tons of appointments every single day and every single week. I'm sorry. It's a sales tactic. My wife always talks about growing a business, and sales is a contact sport. You have to contact people, right? You have to network with people. You have to connect with people. That's what it's all about. So really making sure that we all understand exactly what needs to be done to get real results. I'm not looking to tell people falsified information or over-promising. I like to under-promise and over-deliver. Because there have been people that I have worked with that have taken this strategy and they're booking 10 to 12 calls a month. They're booking 20 calls a month. They're booking 10 calls a week. But I think if we can all agree from a foundational level, let's focus on 3 calls a week. That seems doable. And here's the thing. I don't want 20 calls a week. That's too much. I don't want to be on the phone for 4 hours a day talking to people. I have other things to do to grow my business, right? There are better ways that we can network and build. And as Maurice said, it's better to be realistic. It is. And that is what I'm trying to bring to you guys all this week is realistic expectations here. But I can tell you, and I know there's a lot of financial people on here, you guys will understand this analogy. You need to treat LinkedIn like a 401k, right? So with any investment fund, what do you have to do? You make an initial investment. You don't just leave that investment, right? You add to it every single month, right? You put a little bit more in, and guess what happens? That compounded interest over time grows your wealth. The same thing goes for LinkedIn. You have to start out with that base investment, building that network, connecting with the right people, messaging, all of those things, and compounded over time, you get those desired results. If everyone can understand that analogy, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. And also, the great thing is, what I'm going to be teaching you doesn't take up a lot of time. It's very succinct, it's streamlined, and it's simple because, again, I want people to work smarter and not harder. I want you guys to be spending more time connecting and building relationships than scrolling and trolling on social media. That's not a good use of our time, right? We have very important businesses to run and grow. And again, I want to teach you how to do all of that. Now, so there's two types of connections that we want to have. And I dripped on this. We have our ideal clients, which you guys beautifully described in the comments. But then we have something called a power partner. Now, a power partner is someone that we can collaborate with, we can link arms with, we could have referral partnerships with. So if you guys are familiar with power partners, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Good. Now, you need to have an equal balance of a network full of ideal clients and power partners. You have to have an equal balance. So what I try to describe to people is on Monday, you're either going to search and connect for ideal clients, and then on Friday, you're going to search for power partners or vice versa. If everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes. Just want to make sure. Now, here's an example of a power partner. If I'm a divorce attorney, just using this as an example, if I'm a divorce attorney, a great power partner for me are estate attorneys. Why? Well, typically in divorces, if someone's been married for quite some time, they've probably accrued some sort of estate, whether it's financial, whether it's real estate or monetary or possessions. And what happens? What happens is that estate attorney goes in and helps people separate those assets. So an estate attorney and a divorce attorney are complementary assets to each other because they can refer business back and forth. So if everybody is clear on that analogy, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, with that example in mind, knowing exactly who your ideal audience and client is, type into the chat, who would be a great power partner for your business from a profession or industry? So Dorothy wrote other women organizations. Hotel sales manager, Michelle says. Business attorneys, CPAs, accountants, Craig says. Awesome. Complementary service, gym instructors, estheticians, association executive directors, personal injury lawyers, holistic health providers, holistic practitioners, meeting planners. I just want you guys all to know you have gotten past the most difficult aspect of LinkedIn. The most challenging part of LinkedIn is defining your ideal audience. The big struggle that people have is, I don't know who I should connect with, right? I don't know who to search for. I don't know what connection request to send. Well, now you do. You need to be focused on a clear strategy of those ideal clients and those power partners. Now, the question I get from people is this: what's more important? Is it more important to have ideal clients, or is it more important to have power partners? Now, depending upon the business, that's going to be for you to answer. But what I will say is this: in my experience, power partners have been amazing because a power partner can represent so many different aspects of your business: referrals, partnerships, joint ventures. It could be a collaboration opportunity. Maybe that power partner of yours, maybe they have a podcast and they'll say, hey, Scott, come on my podcast, share some knowledge with my audience. Because guess what? Now it's putting you into the realm of that person's network. So now you're getting more expansive. I want all of you to think bigger. I want all of you to think outside the box. And I've talked about this before. Some of you that have been to our workshops, I always talk about being a salmon in the world of fish, right? Salmon swim upstream. You don't want to go with the regular school of fish. You want to go against the grain, right? You want to carve your own path. You want to blaze your own trail. And this is that opportunity. I want each and every one of you to be one of those standout professionals on the platform where you're that go-to person. And you're going to see everything start to increase. You're going to see your acceptance rates increase. You're going to see your message responses increase. You're going to see the engagement in your content increase because you know why? You have a clear and specific strategy. A lot of people spend time throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. What happens? It may stick originally, but it ends up sliding right down that wall on the floor. So if everybody is clear on all of that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Now, I'm going to do a live demo in just a second, but I just want to do a quick review before we move on. So I'm going to just throw some questions at you. And again, I always like doing this as a review, so it becomes like a brain tattoo, so you guys really get it. What is the max number of connection requests that you can send in a given week without getting in trouble? Good. 100. Just want to make sure you guys are with me. How many connection requests are you specifically sending per day on LinkedIn? What is that range that I gave you of how many connection requests? Yes, 14 to 18 per day. What 2 days are you not doing anything? What 2 days are you not doing anything? Yes, Saturday and Sunday. Rest and recovery. What 2 days are you searching on LinkedIn? Mondays and Fridays. Yep. Awesome. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there's a section on LinkedIn that you're going to be sending your other connections. What is that section called? Yes, My Network. Awesome. The 2 types of connections you should have are what? The 2 types of connections you should have are what? Ideal client, power. Do you guys already feel better now than you did about 50 minutes ago? Yeah. Again, this is one of those strategies. You have to have the clarity. People ask Nancy and I all the time, again, how do you guys continue to grow and scale? We have clear strategy. I don't go outside of my clear vision, right? I have that tunnel vision. If anyone has ever watched horse racing, you know, they wear those blinders, right? So they can't look at anyone on their left, anyone on their right. They stay in their lane. I want all of you to stay in your lane, stay in your zone of genius, right? Stay in that pocket where you can deliver the most value, you can provide the best connection for people, and you're going to build the best kind of network. So let me share my screen. And we're going to hop onto LinkedIn, and I'm going to show you a couple things before we dive into today's accountability assignment. So something that I talked about obviously is having a marker of where your network starts from. So right over here, and I'm going to, if you guys can see my screen, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. I just want to make sure that everyone can see my screen so far. Beautiful. Okay. So right here, okay, if you guys can see what I'm circling, just drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So this is basically your marker. So this number right here, before you start this process, which you're going to start today, you want to take note of this number because you're going to see it rapidly grow. Now, just to kind of show you an example, when I click on this, and this is what LinkedIn does, LinkedIn is going to show you the people that you last connected with, right? 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, a week ago, right? So right here, just to give you an example, Nina is my most recent connection. So before all of you start this process, you're going to take note of your most recently added connection. If you're with me, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Before you do anything, before you do any search, before you hit that connect button, you need to see who your most recent connection is. Now, as I mentioned to all of you, you have two options. You can actually three options. You can write that name down on a piece of paper. You can put it onto an Excel spreadsheet, or you can put it into a Google Doc. However you want to keep track of that most recent connection, it's completely up to you. The good thing is when you start this process, which we're going to go over in a couple minutes, anyone that appears above Nina are going to be my newest connections. So if that's clear, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. So as the old connections go down, the new connections stack up. Okay. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear. Now, when I'm doing a search, so say I'm going to search for a power partner today. Okay. It's Monday. I'm going to search for marketing podcast host. So I'm going to search. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first select people right here. I don't want any of these. I want to first filter by people. So I'm going to filter by people. And then after that filters through, I'm going to do a secondary filter, which is connections. And you're going to see there's three options. First, second, and third. First are your existing connections. You don't need to worry about them. Third and plus, you need a premium account to send an in-mail message, which goes to their other inbox, doesn't even go to their regular inbox. It gets lumped in with all the sponsored ones that we get. So don't worry about that. Your second connections here are your free connections. These are the ones that you want to focus on. You want to filter by your second connections. So if you guys are clear on that so far, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Beautiful. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click show results, and it's going to give me 12,000 results. Now, people ask me this all the time. Scott, I see this follow button. Can I still connect with the person? Absolutely. All I have to do is click on Doug. Then all I have to do is click on more, click on connect, and hit send. That's all I have to do. So if you guys followed that little strategy right there, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Good. Now, other people just have connect. So right here, Sabrina, global marketing events and podcast host. Connect, send now. That's it. You're not adding a message. Do not add a note to the connection request. There are three instances where you want to add a note. Number one, you know the person personally. So you know them in real life. Maybe you're friends on Facebook, Instagram, or wherever else, right? Number two, you were referred to connect with them. So a mutual connection or friend, maybe someone else that's coaching or working with that person, recommended you to connect. And you say that, hey, Scott, so-and-so that you're working with recommended we connect. I would love to hear about what you're doing. Hope to be a connection. Or third, you make mention of how you heard about that person. I subscribe to your newsletter on LinkedIn. I follow your LinkedIn lives. I love the content that you post. I was at a networking event with you. I read your book. I listened to your podcast. I attended a live workshop. Make mention of how you know the person. If it doesn't check one of those three boxes, you just hit connect. If everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. And again, I'm just going to hit connect. And again, just to show you what I can do is I can click on Paul. I'm going to go to more. I'm going to hit connect, send. And you don't have to follow the person either. So if everybody is clear on that, good. Now, that is your Monday and Friday strategy. your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday strategy, you're going to be using this area right here. This is the My Network area. So what you're going to do is I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to click on My Network, and you're going to see, right? You're going to see people are going to connect that you may know in the greater Philadelphia where I live, right? They're going to say people that you may know went to the Fox School of Business like you did. It's going to also recommend mental health change agents for motivational speaking, people with similar roles, consulting and business services. So again, I can go through here and I can say, you know what? I can scroll through, see if anyone checks any of the boxes, and then it's going to say more suggestions for you. So I can go through and I can say, director of marketing, I want to connect with them. I talk to real estate investment agents all the time. I'm going to click connect, right? So digital marketing content creator, connect. That's within my zone. So if everybody is clear, so 14 to 18 connections, Monday through Friday, doing your searches, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, using the My Network area. If everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Just want to make sure you're clear. Good. Now, at the end of every month, you're going to see an area right here that says see all 408, since I have 408 outstanding sent requests to me. If you don't have any connection requests being sent to you, it'll say manage all. Manage all. Now, what you need to do, and again, any questions that you guys have, please write it down and save it for Thursday's session, because I'm going to be doing live Q&A and also examples there. So whatever your questions are, because I got to get through all these trainings, please make sure that you show up on Thursday. I'm actually going to send out a pre-submission form so you guys can pre-submit your questions for Thursday. If everybody is clear on that, please drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Awesome. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to click right here where it says see all 408. And then I'm going to click where it says sent. So you can see it says received right here and sent. I want sent requests. So here's what you need to take note of. At the end of every month, you need to go through and remove any connection request that is 3 weeks and older. So I'm going to scroll through right here. Okay. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. All right. Right here. Neil Patel. So from here down, I'm going to hit withdraw. Now it's going to say I can't send to this person for 3 weeks, but that's fine. It removes the request on their end, removes it on my end. No harm, no foul. If they end up populating again in a search, I send it to them again. They're not going to get double requests because I removed it. So at the end of every single month, you want to withdraw all of these connections. If you have too many unaccepted sent requests, LinkedIn will block your account until you remove them. So at the end of every month, you want to make sure that you do that. So if you guys are clear on that strategy, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Good. Now, if everybody is clear so far with what we went over in today's strategy session, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. All right. Now, your accountability assignment for today. You are going to be sending out your first batch of 14 to 18 targeted searchable connections. So it's Monday. So you can search for your ideal client or your power partner today. You're going to send your 14 to 18 right after we pop off here or later today, and you can do it again tomorrow. You're going to basically start from this day moving forward. You're sending out your 14 to 18 connections the 2 ways that I showed you. Monday and Friday through your specific searching, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through the My Network area. So if everybody is clear on that and your homework assignment, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. I just want to make sure everybody is with me. Now, in the private Facebook group, there is going to be a post that's pinned to the top. If you guys still are not yet in the Facebook group, I'm going to drop it one more time. You can either pre-submit your homework to me via private email, scott@scottaaron.net. You guys have my email address. Or you can join the Facebook group. That is where the replay is going to be. And that's also where the homework thread is going to be. So if everybody is clear on all that information and what your homework is, sending out your first 14 to 18 connections in the homework thread, all you have to do is type in the comments under the homework thread, I sent out my first batch of connections. That's all you have to do. That is all you need to do. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over, now that you've started sending connection requests and people are accepting, we're going to go over the different types of messages that you can send and the exact call structure that you should have when someone says, yes, I want to get on a call or a Zoom with you. So we're going over the messaging and the sales call structure tomorrow at 1 o'clock EDT. If everybody is clear on that, drop a Y or a yes in the chat. Also, drop into the chat, what was your biggest takeaway from today's session? What's already moved the needle for all of you with what you're going to be doing on LinkedIn? You can type that in the chat as well. And just remember, you're going to be getting 4 emails a day. You're going to be getting a morning replay email with a recap and the replay link. You're going to be getting a 1-hour warning, a 15-minute warning, and a We Are Live warning each day. So remember, do not report as spam. Do not unsubscribe. You're going to miss every message that I have for all of you. So again, this is step number 1. Building that LinkedIn network the right way, because tomorrow we're going to be messaging. We're going over the structure of that sales call. And remember, accountability assignments are due 12:30 tomorrow. You'll see in the thread, just put it there before 12:30. Also, don't forget, there's going to be 2 homework winners and 2 social media winners. All you have to do is take a screenshot of this training. If you did, post it on social, tag me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn to qualify. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed day number 1. Looking forward to seeing each and every one of you for day number 2 tomorrow at 1 p.m. EDT. Love and gratitude.